So for the longest time, I've always loved playing with Herald of Perfection. Ever since Links came out, there has been a huge opportunity to change the way Herald of Perfection actually operates. Um, what there's been different times where you would play Herald of Perfection with the stick and the chair. You'd be able to play him with a bunch of spells. I recently, with the introduction of the Nightmares and the Eva card that came out in the Fairy Structure deck, I've retooled the deck to be a little bit different. One of the biggest things that I noticed about the Herald of Perfection, or one of the problems it had, is it was really hard to make any boards with one or two cards, or make anything meaningful or impactful. So what I ended up doing is I ended up using the deck, and I noticed that with the introduction of some of the new cards, including the Nightmares, Eva, Summon Sorcerers, that kind of stuff, you can actually do a lot of things with just a few cards, whether it be one or two cards. So really, what I'll do is I'll show you guys some combos about the way this deck operates. Then I'll show you guys the deck so you guys understand why I put the ratios that I did for the cards that are in the deck. So the main three combos, they have to do with, in my Herald of Perfection deck, there's three combo starters, and that would be Venus. That's a one card combo that gets you an extra link. It was a little bit different whenever the Nightmare Goblin was out. So now it's still a one card extra link. It just requires you to have specific monsters instead of just any monster, which is fine, no big deal. A lot of the times you have something you can normal summon anyway. The other one was Brilliant Fusion. Brilliant Fusion was one of those cards that opens up a ton of plays, and it just requires itself and any monster. And there's a lot of one card plays that just open up your deck all of a sudden with it. Lastly, this isn't really a one card combo that I have in my deck anymore, but it is Gale Dogra. I'll go over it a little bit, and what I'll do is I'll show you some of the stuff that I was running to make it work. What I ended up figuring out is it was good, but there was always something better that I can run. I still run Gale Dogra so that I can summon the Herald turn one. But it's been relegated to that as opposed to just a one card combo. Once we get other cards like Needle Fiber, things like that, he's a lot more abusable. We do have to run more bricks if we do that, but for now, what I'll do is I'll just show you pretty much how it looks like just with these three cards, and what I mean by the one card interactions. Again, a ritual summon usually does take a lot of resources. Pre-preparation of rights and preparation of rights makes the deck more consistent, but you also want to have a fallback plan where you don't just rely on Herald of Perfection. You rely on other stuff in your deck to get you to set up a respectable board without you getting killed the first turn. So the first combo I wanted to show you has to do with Venus. And so in this deck, if you draw Venus and just complete garbage, you're able to extra link your opponent. Just with Venus, you don't require discard cards. It's all self-contained. You don't have to, you see those videos where it says, okay, it's a one card combo, but you need 4 other cards in your hand. No, this is a one card combo. You can draw this and you can extra link. And so this is how it works. I'll show you how it works. So you summon the Venus, you pay 500 for each one of the shine balls. Now what you do is you link away with all 3 of the materials, and you want to leave a shine ball either here, here, or here, in one of those zones, because you want your summon sorcerers to point to it. I like the summon sorcerers here, so we'll summon it right there. We'll activate its effect targeting the shine ball. That'll summon an Eva from the deck, just like that. Now what you can do is you can get rid of Eva and summon the Link Karibo. Well, what the Eva will do, because it was sent to the graveyard, it'll let us banish 2 light fairies. This time you're going to vanish a Venus and a Shine Ball, and it's going to get you 2 level 2 or lower fairies. That'll be the Trickstar Mandrake and the the World Chalice Fairy. It's hilarious because this combo almost, it pretty much looks like a World Chalice combo, but it's funny how great Eva makes Herald and World Chalice work together, especially because of Lee. Now what you'll do is you'll get rid of the Shine Ball and you'll summon an M deck. Once you summon the M deck, you'll get a second normal summon, so you'll summon the Lee that you searched out. The Lee will add you the World Chalice Guard Dragon to your hand, just like that. Now what you do is you are going to link the M deck and the Link Karibo, and you're going to summon the Underclock Taker. I'm going to summon it over here because it doesn't have an arrow that points this way, so I'll summon it at the very end so that it points this way for our Firewall Dragon. Because the M deck was sent to the graveyard, we'll summon the World Chalice Guard Dragon right under the Sorcerers. It doesn't matter where you summon it, you're going to link away with it anyway. So we'll link away these two, the Summon Sorcerers and the Guard Dragon, to summon the Firewall Dragon right next to the Underclock Taker. Now what you'll do is you'll banish the World Chalice Guard Dragon, and what you'll do is you'll summon the Mystic Shine Ball in defense mode next to the Firewall Dragon. Now that you have that, you'll be able to link these two monsters away, Lee and the Shine Ball, and that will get you a Proxy Dragon right here. Or it could be any side pointing monster. I can't run Ib because they're the same type, so we'll just do the Proxy Dragon right next to it. Because the Shine Ball was sent to the graveyard, it'll trigger your Firewall Dragon, and you'll summon Mandrake directly from your hand. Now you'll link away the Mandrake, and you'll summon the Trickstar Bloom right above the Firewall Dragon. Now the Firewall Dragon is co-linked with 3 materials. You'll be able to add the Mandrake to your hand, a Shine Ball to your hand, and the Eva to your hand, just like that. So now what you can do, because the Lee is in your graveyard, you can discard the Mandrake to add the Lee back to your hand. Well, because the Mandrake was sent from your hand to the graveyard, you could summon it directly onto the field. Now what you'll do is you'll link away the Undertaker and the Underclock Taker or the Undertaker. That would be funny if they made a card out of the Undertaker. You link those two away. The Mandrake actually gets banished. And what you'll do is you'll summon a Trigate Wizard next to the Proxy Dragon. That'll trigger your Firewall because the Underclock Taker went to the graveyard. You'll summon Eva right next to it. Next, what you'll do is you'll tribute the Eva to activate your Link Karibo's effect, and you'll summon Link Karibo way over here, just out of the way, so you can summon something else right here. That'll trigger your Firewall again, summoning the Shine Ball from your hand. You can link away with the Shine Ball, and the Shine Ball will get you into a Link Spider right above the Trigate Wizard. Now you can get rid of the Lee, you can summon it directly next to the Firewall Dragon, and from here you already have the extra link. You can go into Cerberus, you can go into Phoenix on either side of the board. If you had one more monster, so like let's say you had a Gemini Garnet in your hand, you could link these two away, and you would want to summon the one that points this way, which should be Phoenix. That'll leave the Firewall to trigger one last time, summon the one normal summonable monster you had before, and now you just link away the Firewall Dragon and that monster to go into Nightmare Cerberus. So with the one card, you already had the extra link. With an additional card, you had the more resilient extra link that protects you from battle or card effects. If you just do the Venus by itself, you kind of have a Sophie's choice, so you have to choose whether you want to do battle or card effect destruction protection. If you have an additional monster, it makes it so you can have both. Either way, it's a 1-card extra link with that, and it fits perfectly with the Herald of Perfection deck. And so this is the second combo. This one's actually with the Brilliant Fusion. This one is kind of a cheat because you just need any monster that you can discard. So what I'll do in the for fairness, I'll just get a Ritual monster. That way, it's a useless card. I can't do anything with it without any Ritual spell, but you'll see what I mean. So what I'll do is we'll activate the Brilliant Fusion, and we're sending 2 cards. We're obviously going to send the Garnet, and we're going to send the Lee World Chalice Fairy. So pretty cool. We'll send those 2 cards to summon the Seraphonite directly from the extra deck. Now what you'll be able to do, you need the extra monster so you can get Lee back to your hand. So we'll add Lee to our hand by discarding the Ben 10. We'll use the second normal summon for the Seraphonite to summon the Lee. Lee's effect will kick in, and it'll give us the World Legacy World Chalice. Now what we could do is we could either tribute Lee or we could tribute it. It doesn't matter. I'll just tribute Lee in this situation just so you can see what I'm talking about. We'll tribute Lee to summon the World Legacy World Chalice, and we'll link both of those away into an underclock taker. You just need something that points down. That's it. Unfortunately, because of the extra deck specs, we don't have a lot of link 2s that point down. So we'll just use this in the meantime just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So we put it there. And so the World Legacy World Chalice will summon 2 monsters. One is going to be a Lee. Doesn't matter where you put it. And then one is going to be a World Chalice Guard Dragon. You can put it here. It doesn't matter where you put it. The only thing you want to do is you want to make sure that at least one of the arrows is empty. So I'll put it right below it because we're going to link away into this. We're going to link this away into the Link Haribo. Now that you have that, you have Underclock Taker and Link Haribo. They're the same type. So now what we could do is we can grab both of them, link them away, and go into Summon Sorceress, just right there on the top. Because the Summon Sorceress is pointing to the Lee, make sure it's on one of the, 1, 3, or 5, one of the first, the third, or the fifth zone. You can point to her and summon an Eva directly from your deck, just like that. Once you do that, you send the Eva to the graveyard, summon the Link Haribo back to the field. It doesn't matter where you put it as long as it's not here. So once the Eva is sent to the graveyard, there's a couple of cards you want to get. You can get a DD Sprite, Herald of the Orange Light, Cyber Petite Angel, Mandrake, or you can get your final Leaf from your deck. You can get any of those cards. There's a couple of boards that we'll be able to do. So what I'll do is I'll keep these cards right here, and then I'll kind of finish the combo so you can kind of see. What we'll do now, the Summon Sorceress has an empty zone. We'll banish the World Chalice Guard Dragon, and we'll summon the Gemini Garnet right where it points to in defense mode. So now what you do is you have 4 monsters that you can summon on. You have 4 monsters on the field. So there's a few things you can do. You can go straight into a Saryuja. So if you wanted to get rid of all of them and go into Saryuja, you could do that. If you pretty much almost had a way to, set up the ritual summon, you'd probably want to go into a Saryuja. Funny enough, you can actually go into the Gumblar Dragon too. So if you just want to get rid of your opponent's hand, you can do that as well. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be focusing on the Gumblar plays. The Gumblar play is the most concise one. It's the one with the least amount of variables. It doesn't have you drawing random cards with the Saryuja. So we'll just focus on that. You want the Saryuja if you're missing one piece and you need to dig for more. All these cards coming out of the deck thin your deck, so you're probably going to draw the card that you're looking for. So what we'll do in this situation, because we're going to do the Gumblar play, our Eva targets are going to be at least the DD Sprite, and then anything else. It doesn't matter what the other card is. So you know what? I'll just do the Herald of Orange Light. If you were to do like the Lee, you can link this off into the Guard Dragon and then make some more link plays, summon the Lee that you just search. You could do stuff like that, but we're just going to focus on the Gumblar play right now. So what you do is you're going to get rid of the Link Haribo and the Summon Sorceress, and you're going to summon the Gumblar Dragon right up there. Now, you could banish any monster you control, either the Lee or the Garnet. I like getting rid of the Garnet because it has 0 defense. We'll banish it to summon the DD Sprite directly under the Gumblar Dragon. That'll trigger the Gumblar Dragon, and you can discard this 2 cards from your hand. Not only that, next turn you have the Link Haribo in your graveyard. DD Sprite's a level 1. You contribute the DD Sprite to summon it and trigger it again, hand looping your opponent for 4 cards. All it took you was 2 cards to do so, and not only that, the Garnet will come back so you can use it as more link materials. You'll be able to get the Lee back depending on what you draw. If you had other stuff, you could probably discard it with the Orange Light. You could even turn this into the Mandrake so that when this discards it, you can summon it instead. So there's a couple of things you could do with that. But that's how the Gumblar works. I mean, you had, let me see, you started with 2 cards, so you had 3 left. So if I do 3 plus the one I have in my hand, that's 4. So when I discard 2, that'll be 2, and then when I bring back the Link Cerebral, that'll be another 2. Yeah, so you'll loop 4 cards out of your opponent's hand. You won't really have the best board if you do that, but that is another option that you had. Based on extra deck space, I prefer to go with the Saryuja route just because this does take up. This is a one-trick pony and it just does that, but that is very strong because now your opponent has to get over a 3,000 attack body, and you'll have a Link Cerebral on the field, so they just can't run it over unless they make like a Utopia the Lightning or something like that. But even then, you just discarded most of their hands, so you know, they got to kind of be careful with what they do next. And then, you know, Lee has a really big butt, so you'll be able to stop them there. So that is pretty cool. The last one has to do with Gale Dogra. If you were to draw a Gale Dogra and have, you know, enough life points, you'd be able to do a nice combo with just the Gale Dogra itself. What I found with this combo is it's lackluster compared to the other combos. One of them helps you dig, one of them hand loops your opponent, one of them extra links your opponent. The Gale Dogra did one thing, and sure, it got you some advantage, but that's where it ended. You weren't able to do really much anything else. You were just do the Gale Dogra, and that's it. You wouldn't be able to do much else. I'll kind of go through the combo to see what's going on, and I'll show you which are the cards that I cut out. One of the things too is I'd still probably keep it, but the deck and the extra deck space are so tight, especially because of the extra link. I would rather keep that than have this combo that doesn't amount to much. A lot of the times you'll draw Gale Dogra with the ritual piece, and if you do that, that's enough to make a Herald and to get 4 to 5 negates with the Eva. So I'll show you the combo here in a little bit. So you'll summon the Gale Dogra. Let's say you drew this and like 3 MSTs and a Dark Hole, it doesn't matter. You summon the Gale Dogra, you send the first Herald of the Arclight to the graveyard, pay 3,000. That'll search you for Necros Embryonic into your hand. You'll pay another 3,000 to send another Herald of the Arclight to the graveyard, and that'll get you your Ben 10 directly from your deck to your hand. Now what you'll do is you're going to cycle out your Necros Embryonic, and you're going to add Chalice. Well, you'll do the same thing. You'll get rid of him, and that'll get you your cycle. So now what you could do is you could play your cycle, bring back the Brio by attributing the Ben 10 from your hand. That gets you an effect that gets you Soul of Purity and Light directly from your deck. This is important because you're going to make your rank 6 here in a little bit. This is a Light Fairy that's also a level 6. Brio's level 6, so that's perfect. So now what we'll do is we'll banish the 2 Herald of the Arclights we just sent, summon the Soul of Purity and Light, and then we'll overlay both of them into Lady B. This card is broken. It's one of the best cards in the game. I really like it a lot, but that's basically what you do. Now that you have Lady B, you can really detach anything. It doesn't matter what you detach. You could send the Eva directly to the graveyard. I choose not to. I choose to do Lee. That way I can tribute the Gale Dogra to add Lee to my hand. I hate leaving the Gale Dogra on the field just so I can, you know, get OTK'd. So I get the Lee directly to my hand. That way it gets rid of the problem, and they have a 2,800 booty that they have to deal with, which is cool. When your opponent draws a card during their turn, you discard one, you detach one more, and then that's when you send the Eva. Now that you sent the Eva, you're able to banish the Soul of Purity and Light and the Cyber Angel Ben 10 that you tributed. You can get rid of those two, and usually at this point what I end up like doing, I end up like getting a Herald, or end up like getting like a Mandrake. That's a future plays. So you have a big monster that your opponent has to get over, and you have 1 interruption, so you can interrupt 1 monster effect that they have. During your turn, you always want to get rid of the Light and the Lead. You do both of those, you're able to discard the Mandrake to get the Lead back, summon it, summon the Lead, and, you know, keep on going with your combos from there. I mean, it's all right, but compared to the other 1-card combos and compared to the amount of deck space that it requires, this combo in particular required you to have Lady Beatrice, Soul of Purity and Light, and then it required you to have Brio, Cycle, and Chalice in your deck. So that's 4 main deck card spaces and 1 extra deck spot. With the extra deck being so tight, it's like, well, do I want to run the what do you call it, the Seraphonite, and have that, you know, link 4 play where I can just, you know, fix my hand or hand loop my opponent, or do I want to get a Lady B with, you know, with 1 negate? It's kind of tough. Now, if there's another combo that probably makes this a little bit easier, do tell me. That would be great. But right now, even if we were to add, I don't know, let's say we add, even if we were to add DD Sprite. So, like, let's say we ended up with this board. We had the Necros of Brio. We had the Gale Dogger on the field. And so at this point, what we ended up doing is we got rid of these cards and we got rid of the Cyber Angel. So we distributed the Cyber Angel for that, got the Brio out. What do you search from here? You can search the DD Sprite, you can search the Soul, you can search a few things, but you don't have anything else to capitalize it. You only have 2 cards. You could summon the Soul and then banish the 2 Heralds of the Arclight that you sent with the Gale Dogra. You could make Lady Beatrice. Where is she? She's right over here. And then you can just straight detach the Soul of Purity and Light and send Eva directly to the graveyard. Where does she go? There she is. That'll get you 2 searches because you have 2 Light Fairies. You have the Benton and you have the Soul of Purity and Light. But what do you search? Your field is very small. You only have Lady B and Gale Dogra. I used to run cards like Trickstar Lilybell, or what was the other card that I was running? Trickstar Lilybell or Wadapon. I used to run those 2 cards. And I mean, those are pretty cool, but at the end of the day, they really didn't do anything. And not only that, you required them to have them in your deck. You had to have them in your deck. Otherwise, you know, they were bricks. Now the Lilybell's a little bit less of a brick because if you play like Firewall Dragon and you add it to your hand, you can just summon it immediately. That usually isn't a problem, and it works with the Link monster, the Trickstar Link monster that points down. The Wadapon is more of a brick, but the Wadapon isn't once per turn. So if you're able to put it back in your deck and then draw it again, you could summon it again, which is pretty cool. But at the end of the day, if you draw them in your opening hand, they end up being worse pieces than having, you know, than having a like a Mandrake. Mandrake's awesome because even if it's in your hand, as long as you can discard it, you'll get some value from it. The Sprite's good too because even if it's in your hand, you can just banish something to summon it, and if you have like a level 3, you're able to make a Link play from there. So it's tough. It's tough adding something from this because unless you want to load up your deck with nightmares and go into a Link 2, then a Link 1, discard 1 to summon the what's her name? To summon the mermaid, summon Ibli from your deck, that kind of thing. It's like, well, now you're adding, you know, additional cards to your deck. You're adding like 2 or 3 more cards to your extra deck. It's just not worth it. And then you have no way of normal summoning again unless you get a normal monster out. There's no normal monster in this whole scenario. So it's tough. It's tough getting anything done. I was thinking of the DD Sprite. And then maybe like a, I don't know, like a Herald, or let's see, like a Lee, you know, any of those. And I was like, well, or, you know, like even a Mandrake. And I was like, well, I've already used my normal summon. So these are the most dead cards I have right now. These would only be good if I had that combo where it was like make a Link 2, replace it for the Link 1, pitch 1, get the Ibli from the deck. And then you could probably do something, but then the Ibli stops you from, so like let's say we did like these 2, right? So we would make the Link 2, go like that, and we would summon any Link 2. We summon a Phoenix. Now we get rid of it to summon the Mermaid, discard the Lee, or yeah, the Lee, and then that would summon, I don't think I run Ibli in my deck, so let me see if I can find the Ibli, or the Ibli in here. It's a dark, so you should be able to find it pretty quickly. Let's see, let's see, let's see. There she is. So we'll do the Ibli. I have a few decks just kind of melded in here. So we'll summon the Ibli directly on here. But here's the problem. You could discard this to get the Lee back, but you can't special summon because she's on the field. So now you have to get rid of her to make another card. So like, we'll just say we'll make like a Link Disciple. It doesn't matter. You could have made another mermaid, you know, it doesn't really matter. So we'll just do that. Now we can discard this to summon the Ibli. Or not the Ibli, sorry, to get the lead back to the hand, and then the Trickstar Mandrake will be summoned on the field, right? So now that you have that, what do? You used to be able to link these two up into the Nightmare Goblin, discard an additional card you had to summon this and get another play, and then that would summon the Summon Sorcerer up here and get you out another card. But all your playmakers are gone. Your Eva's gone. Everything's pretty much used up. So what do you do from here? There's not much you can do from here. Now I guess you could summon this and then bring something else out. Bring out like a Shine Ball, and then we'll summon this. Get the machine. Link the Shine Ball out into a Imduck, and then from there. You could tribute one card to summon the, yeah, because if we had like we would have been able to, let me see. We would have had the Link Disciple, and we would have had like the Mandrake, right? So we would have been able to do a link to here, Fiend and Fiend. Discard another card, summon the Lee. So here I'll just use, oh, where is he? Did I get rid of him? I don't think I did. This card's banned. So this, discard a random card. It doesn't matter what it is. We'll just say we discarded, we had this in our hand. So we discarded that. And then we summon Lee. Our Lee would end up getting us our... where is it? Our World Chalice, World Legacy World Chalice. And then you would link these two up into the Sorceress, and then that would get you out a normal monster, right? Now you can link this up into this, and you can tribute this for this. Now you can link these two away into a side pointer. So we'll just do Proxy Dragon because we don't have anything else to do. And then we will do, that'll give us two more monsters. So it'll give us like a Guard Dragon and a Lee. So then you can go here, make a Firewall, and then you already used your Lee's effect with the Mandrake, and the Mandrake's banished, by the way. But see, now you have to add two additional extra deck cards. Either two Nightmare Mermaids, or like a Nightmare Mermaid and like a Link Disciple, or, you know, something that you can link away the Ibli with, because so you can activate your Mandrake's effect so you can summon. But then you end up with this. The problem is this relies on you having this, and this is banned, so you can't use this combo anymore. So there was a lot of little reasons why it's like, well, this isn't really optimal because you're not able to do this combo anymore. Not only that, this combo requires you to add an additional 3 cards to your extra deck, which we have no room in this extra deck to do. So what I ended up doing is I pretty much just ended up relegating the Gildagra to just a combo extender. And it's been working out pretty good. I really haven't had any issues with it. A lot of the times you'll draw pretty much everything that you need to draw directly from there. You'll usually have this and like any ritual piece, the Herald, the Cyber Angel, or the Ritual Spell. And then you just pay 6,000 to get the other 2 out, link summon it, and you're usually okay. But I just wanted to give you kind of the reasoning why I don't play that engine. That engine I showed you of the Brio, the Clausulus, the Necros Mirror, or the Necros Cycle, the Soul of Purity and Light, and the Lady Beatrice. That's 5 cards that I have to shove in my deck, and I like keeping my decks very streamlined. You know, try to cut out as much of the fat as possible. But yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. All right, so now that you guys kind of understand how the What the theory is behind my deck, I'll go ahead and start with the deck profile. So first and foremost, it's a Herald deck. So you run 3 Heralds, 3 Benton, 3 Rituals, and then you run the Searchers for it, 3 Prep, and 3 Pre-Prep. Or 3 Pre-Prep and 3 Prep. Standard stuff, you run that as the Searchers to make sure you get all your pieces, and then you run 3 Galdagra. So if you draw like the Galdagra and any of these 9 pieces, you can usually go for the Herald play and search the Eva straight to your hand. So that's what that looks like. Then comes the Venus combo. So you run 3 Venus plus the Shine Boss. This is great. This makes it so that you could do 1 card combos, 2 card combos, 3 card combos. You can search for negates, yada yada yada. But you guys know how good this card is. Then we have the little package for the World Chalice. So 3 Lees, a World Legacy World Chalice, and a Guard Dragon. And then we also run 3 Brilliant Fusion and a Gem Knight Garnet. This is the package I have just for the Lee, or for the World Chalice thing. You play the Brilliant Fusion and then you can start comboing off of that. You run the Eva, so the Lee is searchable. I mean, there's a lot of cool interactions, and with the since Lee can search this, you're able to go ahead and continue and combo off. The Guard Dragon gets you the normals. It makes this so it's not so much of a brick, yada yada yada, which is good. But you guys saw how that works. That's that little package for the World Chalice. And then you have Eva. Eva is one of the best cards in the deck. It searches for you more negates. It searches combo pieces. It searches extenders. It's a level 1 Silver Shielding Karibo. It's broken. And it's searchable with Summon Sorceress. And then with the Eva, not only do you have the Shine Balls, I don't know why you would search those, and the Lees as targets, but you also have the Mandrake, the Cyber Petite Angel. I do run a playset of Herald of the Orange Light because I do not run Called by the Grave. I just figured Herald of the Orange Light was a better card that's searchable, and then you can activate it and it actually destroys the card. It destroys any type of monster effects. So it destroys hand traps. It destroys anything that's on the field. It's a little bit more versatile. And with this deck, your hands get so big. I mean, a lot of the times you're able to pay the extra cost for it. Very searchable. You always want to have it as a tuner just in case you do end up going into a level 4. You synchro into the Herald of the Arclight, but otherwise really good. So you run those right there. The Mandrake obviously combos off with the Lee, and then the Cyber Petite Angel I actually run for that the Herald Christia lock. And so you run a Christia as well. There's a lock where you can have Herald Christia and like 5 negates in your hand. That's one of my favorite combos of the deck. I don't think you could do it anymore. You might, no, I don't think you could do it anymore just because the Nightmare Goblin was limited to 1. But you could still kind of play around with it. I'll play around with it. I'm pretty sure I haven't really thought of that combo too much. I've thought of how to minimize the amount of cards I use to do combos. Instead of having 3 or 4 card combos, have maybe 1 or 2 card combos. That's why I built the deck and added the World Chalice cards to facilitate, starting with the Venus, starting with the Brilliant Fusion, or starting, with just a few cards to be able to make sure that I still get at least something on the board that's reasonable. But that's for the main deck. As far as the extra deck goes, you have basically the extra link cards: Cerberus, Phoenix, Link Karibo, Mduck, Sork, Firewall, Underclock, Trigate, Proxy, Trickstar Bloom for the Link 1 for the Mandrake, and Link Spider. Really what your board ends up being, it ends up being Cerberus, Phoenix, the Trigate, next to them, the Link Spider and the Blooms on the top, and then the Proxy in the middle to kind of connect everything together. But those are essential. You need these for the extra link. Every single card that's in here, you need it for the extra link. Then you run the one, Seraphinite. The Seraphinite is for your Brilliant Fusion, obviously. The 2 Arc Lights, you run these for the Galdagra. Sometimes you'll go into synchro plays, that kind of thing. And then the Saryuja Skull Dread. This you can replace for Gumblar if you'd like. If you replace it with Gumblar, then you would just add a DD Sprite. And so you guys remember that combo, you would just be able to hand loop your opponent for 4. I prefer the Saryuja better just because the Saryuja opens up my hand more. Whenever you do it for 4, you won't have any more cards, so you're just hoping that your opponent doesn't have a 2-card combo of his own. Unfortunately, I believe with the Gumblar Dragon, your opponent can't discard randomly. You discard randomly. Then your opponent discards the same number. Yeah, so your opponent gets to choose what he discards. So if he's playing a combo deck and he just discard all his garbage from his hand and then still has that 2-card Goki combo, he could still come back and start picking apart your field. And your field isn't that strong. It's the Bomber Dragon, the DD Sprite, and like another monster on the field. So you gave up all your cards to get rid of 4 of your opponent, but you're giving him the ability to just do whatever he wants. That's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to show you how what my theory is on this whole deck. I like it a whole lot because it's not one of those decks where you have to run a ton of draws and just have a very limited scope to what your deck can do. You can abuse the extra link. You can abuse the World Chalice cards and still go into cards that let you destroy your opponent's cards. And then Herald, even if it resolves and you're able to summon it, you're still able to search and continue your play. So you don't just search for Eva, you can search for the Venus, continue your plays from there. And you have a Herald so that if your opponent tries to throw any hand traps from there, you're able to negate them. You're able to negate pretty much everything, even if they throw a, an impermanence. Now, that is one card that this deck can struggle with just because it's not a monster effect, so you don't really have a negate, but any deck really can struggle with that impermanence. So you want to get the Herald out as soon as possible. I was toying with the oh, what is it called? The Ritual Sanctuary and the terraformings and that kind of stuff. The ban list actually hit the terraforming, so now that's not as consistent. Not only that, the Ritual Sanctuary is a ripe target for Ash and for Ghost Ogre. So this deck already has such a hard time just keeping up with its resources that you don't want to add cards that require a lot from you now. You can actually end up plussing with them once you go into the mid to late game, but you're not going to make it to the mid to late game if you can't start with those 1-card, 2-card combos. So what I ended up doing, I figured, you know what, I have 3 preps and 3 pre-preps. I have enough searchability. I have the Petite Cyber Angel. I would rather just draw what I need to draw and then just go based off of that and build some type of board. Now, if I get the Herald out, that's obviously the #1 priority, but if I cannot, I will go into my 1 or 2 card combos based on what I draw from my hand. And because of that, because of the ability of everything to kind of search for itself and Eva facilitating it, Summon Sorceress brings out the Eva. Eva gets you more cards. You can kind of extend your combos from there. But if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'll try to get to as many as possible. Thanks again.